Hi friends. Still raining around these parts. Looks like fall is here to stay now. On the east coast of the US. How is everyone doing today? I hope you're doing well. So, your life is a motion picture. That's an easy way to describe how everything happens during this life journey of ours, right? Everything that happens in our lives, every experience, every good thing, every bad thing, every victory, every defeat, every feeling, emotion, everything that happens to us is like a motion picture. It's a movie of our own making that we are actually making it as we go through the motions of life. So, not only are you the writer of your story, but you are also the producer, the director, the main character in the story, the main actor, if you'd like to say it that way. But you are also every other actor around you, all the support cast, everything that is happening within the story that you are being a part of. So that's the whole thing with the we are one stuff that everybody talks about consciousness itself, right? It is everything. It is also in everything at the same time. So everything that is actually happening to you is also you, is also a part of you. I know that for some people, this is kind of hard. It's kind of a hard concept to grasp, but it's really not. You know, truth is a lot. It's not that much stranger than fiction. Let's say it. So there's lots of things that happen that we're just not aware of, and we don't quite understand because we're just living our lives here. What do we really know? But this is what a lot of these wise people that walked the earth and still do, some of them, they talk about. That's what they mean when they're talking about these things, that we are not only the experiencer, but also the experience itself as it is happening. Whether we know it or not, whether we understand it or not, it's a universal, it's the way that the universe works, so to speak. So in order for us to have this experience here on this material plane that is not as material as we may think, to be perfectly honest with you, what happens is we have to somehow create this entire reality that we live in. So when you combine the creative power of every single person that is actually living right here, right now. Besides myself, for instance, we have like almost 8 billion people on planet Earth right now. Everyone is stabbed into this web of creation, this fabric of reality. Whether they know it or not, whether they acknowledge or not. That is a fact. And the way it works is we have to create this place. We have to create everything that happens around us, the experiences, the good, the bad, the not so bad, and everything in between. It's that whole duality aspect of things as well that we kind of like created ourselves, right? It's easy for the mind to conceptualize things like there is good and there is bad, there is right and there is wrong, and all of these things. But when you think of it in the sense of the free will, so to speak, that everybody has, all these ideas, they kind of like dissolve, disintegrate. That's not to say that there isn't, right or wrong. Yes, you can say there are righteous people, and then there are people that, are not righteous. But that is a choice that we have. It's all a matter of choosing what to do, who to be, how to act. And we are free to choose. So at the end of the day, even if somebody is what people would categorize as a bad person, as a terrible human being, which we know there are people like that out there, but they are the same as us in the grand scheme of things. These people have souls as well. They might be completely disconnected from it based on whatever acts and atrocities that they may commit, if that's what they choose to align themselves with. But they have souls just as you and I. It's the same thing. So it's kind of ironic when you look at it that way, that, it doesn't really matter. I started watching this animated series on Netflix the other day that is about the Battle of Malavatara. It's kind of like it's sort of like an adaptation of some of the stuff that happened in the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know if it's the whole thing, though. I read that book so long ago that I don't remember most of the stuff. I should read it again, but I don't think I have the book anymore, because that was when I was living in Brazil a long time ago, and I don't know what happened to that book. I'm going to have to ask my mother. But there is this part, there is this part in the whole thing when it's happening. It's like, if anyone is familiar with the Bhagavad Gita, it's the story of Arjun or Arjuna, and that's the guy that, he is he's the guy that embodies Krishna, the energy of Krishna baby, Krishna. But basically, what happens is they are like separated from each other in the story. The way it's narrated, it's like they're not one and the same, but they're two different things, which kind of makes sense. It's kind of like if you look at Jesus, and then the Christ energy that he embodies, that he carries within himself, they're not the same thing. One represents, the this God aspect of him, and the other is the person themselves, and it's like that with everybody, right? It's an energy. Krishna is an energy, so to speak. Christ is an energy. It's the same energy, just with a different name. Buddha is an energy. It's in every religion out there. And they're having this battle, right? And in the battle, they are all like related. They're like cousins, brothers. They're all like related by blood. They're like family. And yet in this war, they are killing each other. And Arjun is having this like crisis of conscience, having this conversation with Krishna, and he's like, how do I do this? These people are my family. How can I kill them? And Krishna is explaining to him, and it's so cool the way he was talking about. He was like, it doesn't matter if they're family. This is a war, and in a war, there are no winners and no losers. He was basically saying that, by the time it's all done, nobody's gonna die, because everyone is immortal. The soul doesn't die, and this is what he's telling Arjun. He's telling him the soul doesn't die. So even though all of this stuff is happening right now, when everything is done and this ends, it is not going to matter. Everyone is going to be fine. But I'm not gonna tell you guys the whole thing. If you like what I was talking about, go watch the show on Netflix. It's pretty interesting. It shows all this stuff about Krishna and Arjun, and how the whole thing went down. So I'm sure it's not 100% to the scriptures or whatever, but it's good enough for people to get like a good understanding of how these things work. And that's what it is. When I talk about it's your life is a movie, basically. It's the movie that you make it yourself as it goes. And it's never like something that is 100% predetermined. It is something that every person has the power and the capability to change their own story based upon their decisions and the actions that they take throughout their lifetimes. It's kind of like, when people change things in their lives drastically. Sometimes people, go in a bad direction at the beginning of their lives, whatever. They get involved with drugs, alcohol, all kinds of stuff, crime life, whatever. And there are so many cases of people that do these things, and then they realize, that, that's not a smart way of living life, and then they change their lives after that. So nothing is set in stone, so to speak. We are the ones that are going to set the tone for all of these things that happen in our lives, whatever these things may be. And that's really all I wanted to talk about when it comes down to this whole life is a motion picture of your own making, basically. That's what we do. We are here writing, producing, and acting on our own story that is happening, as life goes on. It's pretty fascinating stuff. So yeah, this is really all I wanted to talk about on this specific subject of how our lives are a movie that we make it ourselves on the go. If you like the content, hit that like button, share, subscribe. I love you all. Never stop loving yourselves. And I will catch you all on the next one. Take care, my friends.